Hello, everybody. Today's topic is demystifying networking. My name is Ryan Siebert. I'm a peer career coach here at the University of Cincinnati at our Bearcat Promise Career Studio located in TUC 310, right next to PNC Bank. I am a third year here at UC studying sport administration, and I also have that paired up with a minor in professional sales through the Linder College of Business. I'm happy to be talking about networking today, the importance of it, what it is, what it's not, how to use it appropriately, specifically how to use it in a COVID era that we were currently living in still, and as well as hopefully when we get back to the new normal, how you can use these amongst other things in person for networking purposes. So first, just in general, some networking opportunities available to you certainly now are webinars and conference calls. These are, at your fingertips. Almost any organization will have something along the lines of a webinar or a Zoom call that you can join in. A lot of them have recorded previous webinars and Zoom calls that you can go back and watch. You can pause them whenever you want, take notes, really listen in on certain topics that you are highly interested in. Speed networking events are something that are more happening in in-person settings. So you'll have like a small conference of some sort. It'll be like a speed dating event, right? So for this case, it might be exchanging business card to business card type thing, starting the relationship on the right note, and kind of going from there. So this is a common networking event that is held usually in person, like I said, but I have seen as of late some online speed networking events as well. Next up, we have national and international conferences. So this is a great way to expand your network with people all over the country on an in-person level. So not to say that it's not used virtually, of course, but for the time being, we're going to talk about just for a second the in-person benefits of going to a national and international conference. So obviously it's in the name. So if you go internationally, you can travel the world and meet people from all over the place that come into one city for whether it's a week or two or even just 3-4 days, whatever the case may be, and you get so much out of that. I've had the pleasure and privilege, I should say, of being able to attend one or two conferences over the years, one in Las Vegas as well as one in Miami, Florida. So they're pretty diverse in where they are, and as far as the topics, it really is a wide variety. So if there's some as a let's say a general business conference, so then they'll have a sales sector, a marketing, international business, finance, you name it. The list goes on and on. You can find that there. They are an investment, so most of these do cost a pretty penny. But at the same time, again, it's an investment in your future. So you're meeting great professionals, people in the industry that want to, network with you too. That's why they're there as well, for the most part. So great opportunities there. And lastly, recreation. So a company that you might work for now or have in the past or in the future, you should definitely seek interest in that recreationally. So what I mean by that is that maybe, a small business that you might work for or want to work for one day, they take their clients or their employees to, like a park maybe, or a yoga, studio, and have a session with that, or maybe, a real estate firm might want to take all their employees and have a virtual, or a in-person speed networking event. So they might host it at, an axe throwing or something like that, something to get on your mind out of the 9-to-5 job, and switch that to what you kind of do outside of your work. So next up, our LinkedIn alumni tool is one of your best resources, I think, for networking. So there are over 186,000 alumni from the University of Cincinnati on LinkedIn's platform, okay? And over 99,000 of those actually work in the Cincy metropolitan area. So if you look here on the left, you'll see the alumni tab highlighted. So how do we get there? So you'll actually go first to the search bar at the top left of this image that you can see, which is the top left of the LinkedIn page that you will be directed to. Once you, typed in linkedin.com, and you'll type in University of Cincinnati, and this is the page that comes up. So First, it will have home highlighted, but for this case, to make it easy for you guys, I have it highlighted on the Alumni tab. So you'll just click that on the left-hand side here, and then you can see this is the Alumni tool page, okay? So you can filter it by major, field, alumni class, the company that they work for, and so many more other detail-oriented filters that I highly recommend you doing so if you really want to hone in on a certain industry or specific job title that you might seek fit for you. So you can see here where they live, where they're from, where they work. Do they work at the hospital? 1,200 or so work at P&G or have in the past. So these tools are really endless for you guys, and I strongly encourage you guys to use this free resource. Next up is informational interviews. So these are, great to make a first impression, right? I use these about, especially since when COVID started, I used this platform, LinkedIn, to conduct my informational interviews, or at least start the conversation to schedule an informational interview. So these informational interviews are really just to kind of get to know the person that you're talking to at the company. Overall, it's just a great networking experience. Ask them questions about what the job that they have, maybe what they don't like. See if an opportunity is available for you to potentially even apply or join the team one day. All those things you can certainly get out of an informational interview. And next is brief conversation. So with that, these informational interviews should only last about, I shouldn't say should, but typically they do last about 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, so they could last for about 5 minutes, or they could be even a half hour. I've had some that last an hour or so. So really sky's the limit. So it's just kind of up to you and the other person on the end of the phone that can kind of make that up, and just be cognizant of their time, of course. And then lastly, ask great questions, which I touched on a couple seconds ago, with asking, why they took the job, do they like it there, what don't they like, what could be improved, do they want to grow within the company, all those sorts of things, to seek some great answers, which you will most likely get from these professionals. With informational interviewing, this is a wonderful opportunity to find out both what you like and what you don't like as well. So you can ask questions, how's the culture? If it's more of a 9 to 5 and you go home, but maybe you specifically want something more recreational, like I mentioned, outside of the work environment, then this might not be for you. If they're strictly business and you want to have fun on the side, then again, maybe you should start looking elsewhere, because you can certainly get this vibe, so to speak, out of even a 15 to 20-minute phone call. And then right and then that you don't have to waste your time looking further into the application process for the specific company, so on and so forth. I also provided the link below detailing the overview of, again, an informational interview and in that process. So that's all on our career education website. It'll talk about everything that I just mentioned, as well as go into detail about a few other things as well. So I definitely encourage you guys to take a look there if you feel so inclined. And there are plenty of other great resources on the website as well. Moving along, we have setting clear expectations for networking. So, the importance of networking. Why are you doing it? Why do they want to talk to you, right? So, first, why are you reaching this person? You'll probably be reaching out to them on LinkedIn or an email, what have you. So, but after you get past that, okay, so do you see an internship on their job board that might be interesting to you? Do you want a full-time position with the company at some point? Do you just want to seek a mentor and see if they can lead you in the right direction, whether they want to take you under their wing and kind of mold you into a great professional, or maybe they even know somebody at a specific company or in a specific field that they can lead you to that might lead to bigger and better endeavors. Next, be sure to, excuse me, show a genuine interest in who they are and what they do at their company. So this is, keep in mind, I try to tell everybody, networking is not is not a one-way street. It surely is a two-way street, right? So yes, they're taking the time out of their day to talk to you, sit down, have a conversation, right? So you can at least meet them halfway, show a genuine interest, commonalities with them, but maybe with their company or organization, and really just, seek interest to, who they are, how they got there, and what they do. And hopefully maybe they'll even bounce back and ask the same questions with you. Maybe ask, what's your time like at UC? What are you studying? What are you involved with? All those things to kind of build that rapport. And then you can certainly ask about those more detail-oriented questions as far as, are there any opportunities available for yourself? Also, lastly here, on this slide that I would like to mention is note that not every professional that you reach out to will respond. This is key to not getting discouraged one bit. And from firsthand experience, I have plenty of missed opportunities, I think, because people have not responded, which to me, I would have, of course, liked if they responded in a timely manner, but they just don't. One, maybe, they're just, like I said here, simply busy, right? They have, pretty grueling schedules, I can imagine. They have families to take care of. They have their self to take care of. Maybe they're traveling for work, whatever the case may be. So don't think of it or into it too much, I should say. Like I said, you're probably busy as well. So maybe you don't check LinkedIn as often, or maybe they, have so many emails they just can't keep up. So really, it's okay if they don't respond in a timely manner. You can, of course, reach back out in 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even give them a call or send another LinkedIn message or whatever it might be, kind of give them a heads up. Maybe they saw your message, but they forgot to respond, and that'll entice them to respond this time. You never know. So definitely don't get discouraged, like I said, and you'll be just fine. So a couple more things. So the forward method. The forward method is a great way to structure your conversation while networking. Okay, so you can see here that I have it outlined based on these words. So family, occupation, recreation, and dream. So we'll start with family. So you can ask a person that you're networking with at an organization, so what do they do, as far as the family goes? Where are they from? Do they have siblings in the area? Do they work with somebody in their family? Did they lead them? Did a family job in the past, persuade them to take a specific career route? Who knows? So stuff like that, you can certainly start the conversation out. Then moving on to occupation, how did you end up in this role? How did you end up at the organization at hand? Did you go through a grueling interview process? Did you know it was the right fit as soon as you talked to a recruiter? Did you have to do a lot of research? Were you kind of on the fence about things, or were you for sure that you wanted to take this role? After that, you can kind of get on the softer side of things when you talk about their free time. So what do they do outside of their work? Do they vacation a lot? Do they like to travel? If they do like to travel, where do they go? All the things like that will certainly open up the conversation and will allow you to tell a little bit about yourself as well. And then the last part is dream. So where do they see themselves in 10 years, maybe even 5 years from now? Do they have a career path that they'd like to go into? Are they in the ones that they'd like to be in for the rest of their lives? Who knows? That's for you to find out. So this is a great opportunity to kind of gauge what they're looking for in their career. And then maybe they can even, share their 2 cents and a piece of advice for you, 5, 10, 20, even maybe even 30 or 40 years from now. Okay, and some final steps that I'd like to go through with you guys. First, and the biggest one that I cannot emphasize enough, and I mean I cannot emphasize enough, is follow up. Following up is the biggest thing I think a part of forget about, or they just simply either 1, don't care, or 2, take the time to do. So ways to follow up. My biggest and most successful part of following up is thank you notes. Thank you notes are the best way to stand out, I think, when networking as a whole. Okay, so if you take the extra 5-10 minutes of grabbing a thank you note, writing a nice letter, and packaging it up and putting a stamp on it, it'll leave, and I promise, a very nice impression on not only your application, but you as a person as well. Because at the end of the day, they'll be like, oh my gosh, Ryan, for example, took this time to go out of his day to send me a thank you note. This means a lot. It really does mean a lot to them. And I got to be honest, out of all the people that send thank you notes as a whole, I think 95% of the people will not send a thank you note after they either network with somebody or talk to a recruiter for that matter. So it's very important that this is a great way statistically to stand out for sure. And again, yeah, I get it. Buying a stamp, buying an envelope, all that is an investment, right? But, a dollar, a couple of bucks is not going to hurt you. It's all about the future. Next up, we have email. So you can send a simple message over your email. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really learned a lot. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I hope to stay in contact moving forward and, stay well. Something as simple as that takes about 10, 20 seconds. Click send, and you've already set yourself up for hopefully a continuation of that conversation. Next up, we have a LinkedIn message. So for me, I tend to go to LinkedIn for most of my networking purposes. And I also, reach out first for information interviews that way. And then after our conversation, whether or not I got their email or not, I will go back to LinkedIn either the day of or the day or so after and say the same kind of message that I, cited in the email message. So thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed our conversation. I learned so much about you and the company that you work for and the 15, 20 minutes that we spoke. I'd love to continue this conversation. Please let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Thanks so much. Again, simple as that. It'll really go a long way. And lastly, if you want to leave a phone call, maybe, you call them on a Monday from an informational interview, and then you want to follow up the next week. So you call them the next Monday and you get the voicemail. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time. Again, reiterate the same message, leave a nice voicemail, tell them to have a great day, and that you hope to stay in touch. And lastly, like I said at the beginning, we'd love for you to visit the Peer Career Coach hours during our walk-in hours at the Bearcat Promise Career Studio. You can see the hours here, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for in-person, as well as our virtual hours, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, as well as Friday, altered hours as well. And you can find the details on our website that is linked below. And, great resource for you guys, not only for networking purposes here, but, we look over resumes, cover letters, we conduct mock interviews, we do look over your LinkedIn profiles, handshake profiles, job searching, you name it. We're here to help. We'd love to see you guys come in, both in person and, of course, virtually, because at the end of the day, we want to keep everybody safe. So whatever you feel most comfortable with, we'd love to see you guys walk in, like I said, both in person and or online. So you can find all that information on our website. And I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to listen to this presentation. I hope that everything that I talked about was helpful. But just know that the importance of networking is really something that I take to heart, and that has really propelled my career as a student, as well as a current professional at even my part-time job. So it's really maybe come a long way. And with that being said, if you have any questions about the network or anything that I talked about, if you want any more clarification, more tips, advice, whatever the case may be, feel free to, again, stop in our office, stop in our online office via Microsoft Teams, or you can even send us an email at careerstudio@uc.edu. Ask us anything you need. You can send your resume. You can send your cover letter through that way. You can send even the link to your LinkedIn profile. Be sure to look over it virtually and get back to you as well. And our website is there for your convenience right there at the bottom with that link. And again, thank you so much for taking the time and for allowing me to share my expertise on this topic. And have a great rest of your day.